Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen amma ba'd fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Habiballah As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Nabiyallah wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. Welcome dear viewers to another segment of Do Not Harm Others. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever recites salat upon me 100 times, Allah Ta'ala inscribes between his eyes that he is free from the fire of hell and free from hypocrisy. And not only that, Allah Ta'ala will keep this person amongst the shuhada on the Day of Judgment. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. We live in communities, we live in societies, and when we leave our homes, when we walk on the footpaths, when we walk on the roads, when we go out, there are rights of people, hukuk of the public that we have to abide by concerning the pathways, concerning the roads and streets that we travel upon. We have to look out for the welfare of others. And our salihin, our pious predecessors, rahimahumullah ta'ala, they were very mindful of this. Let me begin by mentioning an account of how cautious they were in this regard. It stated that a person would come to study knowledge at the feet of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi alayh, the great muhaddith of this ummah. He came for many years. After that, it stated that Sayyidina Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi alayh began ignoring him, turned away from him, and he stopped talking to him as well. That person, obviously he was concerned, so he would persistently ask Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi alayh about the reason for this. But Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi alayh would not reply. Eventually, he rahimahullah ta'ala said, revealing why he had turned away from this person and began ignoring him to the extent that he stopped speaking to him. He said, I was informed that you took some of the public path and included it in your house. You're constructing the wall of your house or whatever construction work was taking place. And you've even taken some of the earth as well. Even though that is the path that the public use, belongs to them. Therefore, I found you not worthy of knowledge and transferring knowledge. What do we learn from this? That a great Imam of his time, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi alayh, a student would come to him for many years on end. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, to teach that person a lesson, began to ignore him. And eventually he revealed why he was ignoring him. So it shows that our elders didn't care about who came to them or who didn't come to them. They would do everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were not in fear of losing students. Like today people have social media followings and they're fearful of losing their followers, so they'll always, adopt certain ways. They'll say certain things, they won't cross the limits in a certain matter because they know that's going to be detrimental for their followers. The numbers will go down, etc. They compromise. They don't speak out. They don't speak the truth. But Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi alayh, he gave an example of what our pious people of the Ummah were like. They didn't care who it was. And they would in fact reform that person, rectify that person, say, look, you're not worthy of knowledge. If you're not acting upon it, you're taking the land of the public. You're causing difficulty for the public. And this happens, it even happens today as well. Disputes occur because people usurp other people's lands. People fight over lands. People, ma'azallah, commit murder over land. But Muslims are those people who should look out for the public, who should clear the path of any harmful things, who should always look out for the welfare and well-being of others. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, "I'zil al-adha an tariq al-muslimin." This hadith is in Mishkatul Masabih. That clear any harmful things from the path of the Muslims. And in the commentary of this, Allama Abdul Mustafa A'zami rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he said that this refers to removing thorns from the pathway, this refers to removing glass things of that nature, because of which if the passers-by were to step on them, collide with them, they would hurt themselves. Move those things out of the way, put them to the side. And he says, although these seem like small acts, but they're so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah Azza wa Jal will grant someone Jannah for doing so. Allama Abdul Mustafa Azmi rahmatullahi alayhi continues, and he says, people in this day and age have become neglectful of virtuous acts, rewarding acts. They don't do them. And instead they'll end up harming others. Instead of acting upon the virtues that have been mentioned in regards to removing harm from believers, they end up harming believers instead. And he gives examples. He says when people eat, they'll end up throwing banana peels on a platform. For example, somebody is waiting for a train. When the train driver stops the train, people rush towards it, the doors open. If somebody actually slips on the banana peel, he'll fall down and hurt himself. He may end up falling on the tracks. Anything could happen. It's dangerous. People are unmindful of others. He also mentions how people will throw things, harmful things, outside. And it happens even today where people wait till it becomes dark. They load their car with unwanted things from the home. They'll find a spot which is a bit spacious. They'll drop everything there and come back, not realizing that they have made the pathway constricted now. It may be a harmful thing. It may be something that attracts rats or mice. People are doing these things. People don't care. As long as they're cozy in their homes, they don't care about others. And Allama Mustafa Azmi rahmatullahi alayhi says that if we see something in the path, this is the meaning of the hadith now, if we see something in the path, we can move it easily without harming ourselves, of course, we should do so. Many times what happens is a person's driving, there's a brick in the middle of the road. There's no cars coming behind him. He should pull up, remove the brick, put it to the side, because although he's avoided it, someone might not be able to avoid it, end up puncturing their tire or something. So we should look out for the welfare of others, inshaAllah ta'ala. If we do so, Allah ta'ala will grant us reward and inshaAllah Jannah for this. Another thing is removing harm from the pathways. And one thing is, if you yourself are sitting in a public pathway, if you happen to be there, again you have to fulfill the right of the pathway. It's mentioned the Prophet ﷺ addressed his Sahaba and said, do not sit in the pathways, avoid that. People said, Ya Rasulullah ﷺ, we have no other option, we have to sit here. And we speak here, we converse with one another. The Prophet ﷺ said, okay, if you can't avoid sitting there, then fulfill the right of the pathway. They said, Ya Rasulullah ﷺ, what is the right of the pathway? He ﷺ said, keep your eyes low, remove harmful things, give salam, or give the reply of the salam, command goodness, and forbid evil. SubhanAllah, this hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. It's such a comprehensive hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, using a few words, explained the rights of the pathway. Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi alayhi explains, he says, when you sit on the pathway, it's dangerous because women pass by, sometimes they're dressed immodestly, it's hard to protect the eyes, and then you might see something in the way, everyone has to avoid it and go around it. If you can remove it, you should remove it, with the intention of well-wishing for others. Whoever gives salam to you, you must reply to that person, give salam in return as well. And if you see someone doing wrong in the pathway, you should tell them, and you should forbid evil, and you should command goodness as well. Give a good mashwara, good consultation, good suggestion to others whilst there. And when you do these things, then it becomes an ibadat for you, because you're doing all of these things for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, avoiding looking at haram, telling others to do good, forbidding evil, removing harmful things. This is part of ibadat now, subhanallah. So this is the beautiful teaching of Islam. And today, unfortunately, people are so far away from this. People sit on pathways to look at women. People sit on pathways to, have fights and quarrels with others to show that they're hard. People sit on pathways for all these other reasons. This is not the way of a believer. We should adopt the teaching of Islam and implement them in our lives. Inshallah, we will gain immense success. Ameen. Bijahi Nabi al-Ameen. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam.
We love Madani Channel. We love Madani Channel. We love Madani Channel.